Okay. Let's go through this. The improvements to governance review template PR. The
So I can talk about it a little bit. So
Yeah.
this is like basically some improvements after I've done the flat car review. You know, we had the template and then I did the flat car review based on the template, and then I kind of noticed some issues and then changed the template a little bit. I was
Okay.
adding a lot of stuff, but I deleted them because Josh, you told me maybe these are more appropriate for a
Guide. Yeah.
self-assessment guide. Yeah, so should be good, I guess. The
Okay.
PR.
Yeah. Okay. And what are we doing? Because like one of the remaining sort of open things was um a medium high blocker, low medium high versus low medium blocker versus low medium high blocker. And what did we end up with?
I think I reworded it. Let me check because it was a bit like there has been some time. Um yeah, there is critical.
Okay.
And there's medium and low,
Okay.
three categories. So basically critical means must fix. It's a blocker. The
Yeah.
other two, their need for improvement.
Okay. I think regardless of what word we choose, the term that we use on line 41 for the section of things the project needs to fix, and the term that we use in the grid should be the same. So whether we call it critical or blocker or must fix, it should be the same in both places.
Yeah, I can't see the line numbers right now, but yeah, let me take a note, quick note.
Yeah. Yeah. So so that would be the one thing. It's just there's no reason to use two different terms.
You two different terms meaning critical and blocker.
Yeah, it's just that we've got this term in the grid, and like you even have these instructions where you say, oh, the items in this must fix section correspond to the things that are labeled critical below. And I'm like, let's not have it correspond. Let's have it be the same label in both places.
Okay.
And I don't really care what the label is, and any of those three terms would work. So and then we can merge it.
Yep. I'll check.
Yep. And okay. Yeah, so we've got two in flight. Governance reviews. Of course, one of the other things is after we merge the template and everything, we're going to end up probably revising it because of what's coming out of the project's moving levels task force. So,
Yeah.
because they're actually looking at changing some of the requirements in terms of what level they're required at, etc. So the but the oh, hey hippie.
I'm here. Give me a second. Clicky clicky.
Welcome.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Good to see you. I've settled down for a bit. I'm
And
setting
where
up.
in the world have you settled down?
That's a great question. I'm in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh,
Oh.
wild.
Where I started being called hippie. I'll send you an article in the local camera, the Daily Camera. It's a paper, and it's also where I met my wife. She wanted to go to New Zealand to do farming, and I realized I was going to miss her and said, could I go? And now, some 15 years later, we're back where we started with children. So fun times.
Aw.
We're trying to set up house here, so I've got a new office. Just a quick tour. There's the Boulder Flatirons. Sure, I know what Boulder's.
That's a great view out of that window.
This is
Nice.
Pearl Street Mall, and I can always tell the time because there's the clock at Pearl and Broadway. And this is there's my old offices 15 years ago across the street. So we're very much right where we started. There and back again, the hippie's tale.
Mhm. Okay, so Karmada governance review. There are some open issues with the project governance, but those are open issues because they are actual issues and I guess not quickly resolvable by the project. So I think we should just go ahead and merge that. And by the way, the open issues just all have to do with the project governance stuff, mainly the who of project governance not being up to date. And for whatever reason, it's taking the project a while to update it. So I think we might as well go ahead and merge that one and then update it when the project actually cleans it up. Because particularly the whole owner's file thing is a bit of a must fix because they can't have people who are no longer affiliated with the project actually having merge rights.
So I agree with what you say, but how should we word this? I can do this, I can just merge it as is and write an explanation, but I would be.
Yeah.
I mean, I would need some help with wording with this, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
it's an assessment, right? So I think it's fine to merge assessments that where they haven't fixed all the things. I mean, that's kind of the, I think the kind of the point of doing the assessments is that we do the assessment and then yeah, and then we merge it. I think it's fine.
oh, yeah, there is actually an open issue in the text that I need to take a look at,
Okay.
which is just how the assessment of inactive maintainers is worded, because we always want to put something in there about what sources of data we looked at. Because obviously there may be sources of data that we did not look at because we didn't know about them. And I need to make sure that's in there, and if not, that does need to be fixed before we merge it, because
Okay, I've given you an action item in the notes to do
yeah.
that.
Okay. The cloud events, they have actually updated the written governance, and I need to look at it again. Ultimately, I think I'm going to get sucked into helping them rewrite their governance, because essentially the main problem with their governance is not that there's anything wrong with the terms of their governance, but just that it is very, very badly written. And like, I know how things work because I'm familiar with the project, but nobody who was new to the project would ever figure it out. And it's become pretty clear through working with the project leads that basically none of them are documentation people, and as a result, they don't. There's no way that they're ever going to fix it themselves. So, but that's no reason not to go through here, update the assessment of things as they stand, and merge it, and then we can update it after the documentation cleanup. And the other thing is it'll have to get punted over to their TOC sponsors, etc., to decide if the documentation issue is still bad enough to prevent them from graduating. because the judgment before is that no particular issue with your governance documentation was enough to block graduating, but the total holistic thing of your governance is incoherent was enough to block them. But they have fixed some things, and the question is, are those fixed things enough to remove the blocker? And that's up to their TOC sponsors. So the yeah, and it's particularly important because this is a spec project, so the governance setup is going to be unfamiliar to most potential casual contributors. And so it actually requires kind of a higher standard of documentation.
Okay, so I've given you the action item to take one final look at that assessment before we merge it, along with several notes about how there are sections that are being rewritten.
Yeah, and because this is a question of readability, I would welcome other folks also taking a look at it. Because I'm in the weird position of looking at the governance, knowing how it works and trying to see if it's clearly written. But somebody who doesn't already know how it works might pick out different things.
Yes.
So
I might have a look if I have time. I'll try. I'm crazy busy because I'm preparing a demo for KubeCon or App Developer Con. That's why.
Yeah, we're entering conference season. I have, I think, 2 weeks in the next month where I'm not at a conference. Or the next like month and a half. So things generally slow down a lot in the tags during October, November until we get through KubeCon.
Should I talk about the next one?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next one is, again, it's on hold pending a decision by the TOC. I'll admit that this is something I've been pushing for a while because, in my opinion, the CNCF should not be using the term committer anywhere. It's not a modern term. It's not clearly understood. In a Git system, everyone is a committer. And like, for example, if you look at dev stats and you look at committers, you're not getting the project leaders, you're getting everybody who had a PR that was merged. So I think we shouldn't do anything about the text in the dictionary until we get a foundation decision.
Okay, so I won't do anything because I mean I asked this because I wrote I created the PR for the glossary and I thought maybe I can change it, but it's okay, I can do it that way.
Yep. So yeah.
Self-evaluation guide, is that the self-assessment guide?
Yeah, self-assessment guide, yeah.
Okay.
And I was trying to find where the actual doc is on the self-assessment branch.
But let me help you with that one.
Yeah, if you could drop the link in the notes, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've created a feature branch. Ollie created a feature branch so that we can actually collaborate on it, because obviously the self-assessment guide is going to be somewhat long, and not finished by one person.
Mhm.
And this is actually in line with the moving levels task force, because one of the things that we've gotten is the primary recommendation from that committee to the TOC is going to be that there should be a complete self-assessment guide that projects can fill out for every level change. And obviously the governance one is going to be part of that. So we'll create our own self-assessment guide, but eventually that'll get merged into a general self-assessment guide that'll also include the other things that the CNCF cares about.
Okay, here we have two things actually. One is the template, the other one is how to use that template. I will also link, like, it's a bit the markdown view is probably not that good for that one, like these documents. Well, no, it's not too bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So should I was again the same thing, but I was planning to work on this, but I didn't have time. But should we keep this like on hold until there is something?
no, we
Okay.
should go ahead and do it,
Okay.
because I mean, we're going to need the guide, and the fact that the guide will eventually be merged into a larger document is not a reason to put it on hold. It's actually a reason to keep working on it.
Yeah. Okay.
The among other things, as far as I know, none of the other sort of groups that have to do review for levels have even started on anything like a self-assessment guide. So in addition to the actual terms of the guide, our guide is going to kind of provide a template for other tags and or the TOC to fill out the rest.
Okay. Do we have any timeline for this, or are we good? Like,
no, we just keep working on it. I mean, I would argue that it's probably the top priority of this working group right now.
okay.
Because for a couple of reasons. One is, again, because the TOC wants it for overhauling the levels. And the second reason is, once we have the self-assessment guide, we can spend less personal time on the governance reviews. So it is saving us work to get it finished.
Yeah, because the governance reviews take so much time, and realistically, if people have a self-assessment, they will fix things as they move through the self-assessment, and then we'll just be in a much better position by the time they submit their self-assessment. And I am a big fan of not having to do that work for them.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need? What else do we need to do on that, on the self-assessment template and the guide before we can start using it?
Just a whole bunch of text, just very explicit instructions.
Okay.
I mean, the template's actually pretty good. I think I actually want to add one more bit based on some of the reviews that we've done, but I mean, the template's in pretty good shape. And so it's really a matter of having very explicit instructions for how to fill out the template, that projects can do themselves. And particularly a lot of sort of front loading around, hey, this is why you're doing this, and this is the overall goal, so that they don't get bogged down in minutia rather than the core bit, which is to say, hey, is your governance open? Is it clear? Are you using it?
Can you, yeah, for the missing information, can you like, you don't have an open PR, so you cannot write any comments on a PR or something. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's why you merge it into a feature branch so that we can just each
Yeah.
submit our own PRs.
Yeah. I was
So,
gonna ask you to write me on the PR, but yeah, there isn't PR.
yes,
It's-
exactly.
Yeah.
So
how much do we care about I wanted to, my idea was to go with this kind of format. For example, evolution. This is the title. It is like description of evolution, like governance evolution, and then impact, and then you can have a look at these guys for fixing your or improving the evolution side of things for your governance, and then ask some questions so that the people who are doing the self-assessment can answer, and we can use that information, something like that. Or is it too complicated? I'm sometimes over-engineering things.
No. I fully expect this to be like 5 pages of text by the time we're done with it.
Okay.
I'm not convinced that it's possible to over-explain these things. So
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to be really explicit because the governance stuff is nuanced. Like it's not always, it's not just, do this thing. It requires a lot of explanation around it. So I wouldn't worry about over engineering it. I do think we need to be really clear about what they are looking for.
It's
Okay.
also a lot of multicultural, international, clear and more words allows a lot more clarity than what seems clear to one person whose first language is English.
Yeah, +1.
Okay. So some of the sections here are mostly like in the format, like the evolution for evolution is okay-ish, but some of them are like they have less explanation. They have definitely less questions.
Yep.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
But we should try to push as much of the explanation into the guide part of it, right? Rather than the template. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should do the same thing that we've done with the project templates, which is pretty much the notes, no notes in the template except for the head note saying here's where the documentation is. Because among other things, we've discovered that people don't necessarily look at the raw view and therefore don't necessarily see comments. And if we put the comments in the main text, they don't necessarily remove them. So, yeah. So I think it's much better to just have like we've done for project templates, a thing at the beginning and link out to that.
Yeah.
Here's the
So
explanation.
it's also like that already.
Yep.
It's like that already. Like this is the guide. There are some questions, which is kind of weird. Answer these questions, then question mark anyway. And then in the evolution, there is not much text. Like there's only some general to do things. But yeah, okay, I'll go with this format. But again, I don't want to hold anyone. If you want to work on this, go. Because I will be busy.
Yeah. So there's already a lot of good stuff here, and we just need to add to it. And like one of the things I'm going to be working on, and that other people are welcome to work on, is going through here and both having a big section at the beginning explaining the whole purpose of this, because I think people are going to be able to fill it out better if they understand what the goals are, and then the same for every section. And probably what's going to happen in the course of writing this out is they're going to end up making some revisions to the templates because we'll find sections that we have a hard time explaining, and if we have a hard time explaining them, then they should probably be revised.
It
Like one
might
of the
be
ones that,
helpful. Oh, it might be helpful if we're all working in the same feature branch and issuing PRs against it. Maybe drop a quick note in the Slack channel when you start working on a section that you're
Okay.
gonna start working on. Because I can just see like we can all end up working in the same sections and end up with just boatloads of merge conflicts.
the although GitHub is a new merge conflict widget, so
Oh, does it?
the it's been nice.
I haven't used it.
So well, once I actually figured out how to use it, but
But regardless, if we all write a different section with different
Yeah,
words, it's
yeah.
still, regardless of how the tool works, it's still something we
Mhm.
have to resolve that I'd like to
Yeah.
avoid.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
I like the idea, yeah.
The so like I'll tell you one of the sections I think I'm gonna take a crack at maybe changing the template is the transparency and freshness. Like I think we want those concepts in there, but I think they could be broken out and sort of labeled better, but I don't have a recommendation on how yet. So
Do you want to go over project board?
what do we got here? Sorry.
Yeah, we might as well.
Or maybe, so I brought this up, but I was thinking maybe we can talk about in the general tag meeting. If you're okay, we can also talk here. Squashing commits, like,
Yeah, I threw it on the agenda because I thought we had most of the right people that we could just make a decision and move on.
okay. I'm trying to open the
Yeah,
issue.
Catherine and Nate already said they're happy for it, and I'm good.
Yeah. Do you have
Um,
any objections, Josh, to squashing commits?
I think most of the time we want to squash commits, but there are times that we don't want to. So
Hmm.
the for example, with how we're currently doing the governance reviews, I want to preserve the separate commits from the first draft of the governance review versus revision after discussion.
You know, they will be still available on GitHub if you wanna like do you really need them in the Git main branch history, or do you want it for historical purpose? Like if you wanna check back in a year or something.
Yeah, I mean that was the idea, is just to preserve it for historical purposes. The but I mean that's kind of a special case, and hopefully we will stop doing that in the future. So the but there are lots of other things where we want to squash commits just because, you know, we've done a whole bunch of revisions to them, and I feel squashing commits is better than doing a lot of force pushes.
Okay, so what then? Oh, okay, you wrote already. If that's okay, then I'll go and do this soon.
Okay.
Are you going to set it up in GitHub, or do you want me to do it?
If you want, yeah, I mean, it would be better if you can do it actually.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. I quickly looked at it. So basically, what I'm going to do is just disable the option to merge in all the commits and just have squash merge as a function.
Yeah.
There is, I looked at the settings just before the meeting. There is actually, let me just find it now. The beauty of thousands of tabs. Give me a moment, I'll find it quickly. There is one for rebase, which I think we should keep, and then the other option is squash commit.
Wait, so we can't keep general merge while making it not the default option?
We could keep it. Then whoever does the merge just need to amongst ourselves. We just agree that we squash merge when we put in
Yeah.
merge. So we can either, because I was thinking to update the settings to disable the other option,
Mm-hmm.
or the other option is we just agree amongst ourselves unless otherwise specifies we squash merge.
Can we just
Just
change the
as a
default to, can we change the default to squash merge?
I don't know. Let me have a look. No, just have the options. If you go to, yes, there's settings, so you can switch on and off what you want and don't want. So basically
No,
just untick the box there, but so you can't set a default, you just what's available or not. So I was thinking to untick the allow merge commits and just allow squash merge
What are the
and allow
options
rebase.
under, what are the options under default message?
Oh, that's just what the message that come up when you with the merge.
Okay, yeah.
That's just
I was
messaging.
just thinking that maybe we could update that to just tell people not to use it unless, but never mind.
so I wonder what happens when you disable merge commits. Will the default become squash or rebase? Because that would be like in Josh's case, the case Josh mentioned, we actually want a rebase merge. If that is the second option, we can
That's
use
fine.
that,
Yeah.
right? Okay, we need to talk about, like, we need to figure out, maybe we can do it offline on Slack. We have,
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll untick a few things and see what it looked like in the repo.
okay, now I open the board.
If I can give my
Yeah.
thoughts about the board, yeah, I was thinking first step, just clear out the new section, decide whether they go into backlog or into the bin.
I was just doing
then-
that.
Governance review request process. So this is like on hold
Yeah,
because
that should be backlog. Yeah, because that comes after the self-assessment
you mean
guide.
blocked.
Well, it's not
Or-
blocked. The process is not blocked. I mean, if somebody really wanted to work on it, it's just that if somebody asked me, should I work on the self-assessment guide first or the process doc first, I would say work on the self-assessment guide first.
Yeah.
Because step one of the process doc is going to be fill out the self-assessment.
Okay. Yeah, it is also written here like self-assessment, etc.
Yeah.
Do this first. Okay. Oh, this is new. I just created this today. I was checking some of the titles that we have in the tag. By the way, can I move to this one? I just kind of.
Yeah, do it.
Yes, please.
I suddenly switched, sorry. There are terms like facilitators, chairs, members, and like here we have no chair but a facilitator. In contributor growth, in mentoring we have chairs. In governance we have members and facilitators, so it's a bit confusing. We should write our own contributor ladder, I think. And this is kind of related to this other ticket, improving contributing.md in our own repo.
Funny how we keep on coming back to our own admin here.
Well,
We build templates for everyone else. We don't
Yeah.
necessarily use them ourselves, sadly.
Is the accountant's taxes all sorted out? Usually not. So, At least we got our own roadmap. We use our own project boards. We're getting there slowly.
Yeah.
Okay, I
The,
moved
oh,
this.
Good idea. Good idea, Ali.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tangentially, by the way, the KubeVirt project is like fully in the process of fully documenting their improvement proposal process. So once that's done, we can do a second one about, okay, you know, here's a second way that projects can use roadmaps.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I go on. Nothing new in blocked. These are still blocked, I guess. So
Why is telepresence blocked?
mm,
Oh, because we
yeah.
asked them to actually update their governance because it was missing a lot of things and never got a response.
Yeah.
Um,
Want to keep it that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll leave a comment on that and just ping them again. I'll do that now.
Yep.
Which one do you like to have a look at next one? Blocked or backlog or any
Yeah,
of the
well,
others?
we're sort of cherry picking the so for backlog, the governance content tracking, I kind of feel like the only thing to do on that is we need to make sure that all of the checkboxes on there become their own cards. And then because some of this is out of date too. The
This is like, we talked about a similar task in contributor growth where there was this task with bunch of things to be written. So it's like that, right?
Now,
Yeah.
contributor growth, we also split it out into individual tickets.
because the problem with these sort of tracking issues is that you look at the tracking issue and then you're like, hey, did this get done elsewhere? Is this still up to date? You know, and then you end up getting sort of sidelined on trying to figure out if it's still valid, and you never actually do the work. So it'd be better to break it out into cards where each card can have its own individual status. So
Okay.
the a lot of these are pretty up here.
There's good stuff. Okay, close that one. Anything else you want to have a look at backlog?
Yeah, I mean, governance remediation is really going to come after we have all of the other evaluating governance stuff in place. I mean, what governance remediation is for is essentially the question of, you know, hey, contributor comes to the TOC or whatever saying that the project is not following its own governance. And what happens next? Right? Because if somebody's filing a code of conduct incident, there's a whole process for what happens next. But if somebody is complaining about governance, there isn't really a process. It doesn't have to be on hold for all of the governance stuff. I mean, with the template and some of the other things that we already have, the somebody actually could start working on that. I just know I don't have any plans to start working on that until we're done with the other governance stuff like the self-assessment guide. Because when we come right down to it, we have had one incident that I know of in the history of the CNCF where we needed a remediation process. There are probably ones that we don't know about that haven't happened because the process doesn't exist, but I still don't think it's exactly a common thing. So whereas projects needing to update and complete their governance seems to be universal. So I know what I'm going to work on first.
Okay.
But if somebody gets a yen to work on this because they have ideas, then knock yourself out.
Okay, so in this content tracking, I just added a note, a comment. This could be another task that could be tracked part of this.
Yep.
Okay. These are kind of new, but I think you added them to backlog already.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly fine.
You know, it's documentation we want to have. Nobody's currently working on it. Although we had somebody who talked about it, so the
So one last before I forget, I'm gonna write something like open issues to add items here.
so
Release MD templates.
yeah, that's the easier version of the whole release thing, right? One of the things the DSC looks for in a project is like the requirement is to actually have a reliable release process. Obviously one of the things a project can do to demonstrate a reliable release project is to actually have a release document. This is how we do a release. But we don't have a template for that. To show projects what should be in a release document. Just a thing that needs to get done. Someone needs to write it.
Okay. Add more orientation docs to GitHub and GitHub templates. I didn't understand this one, but I needed to probably check this one. And how to contribute. Do you know what this is, Josh? Or
Am I not able to bring that one up?
And
I'm not seeing that one when I look at our list of issues.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm on governance, by the way.
Just go back to that one, Ollie. I think the labels on that one might be, because it's filters for governance, it might not have a governance label. No, it doesn't. Oh, it does. Working
Yeah,
group
it
governance, and it's in
Yeah, but
backlog.
it's weird. I can't see it on the project
It-
board.
It's in backlog. If you look at the on the issue, it says there backlog.
Yeah, no, I just can't see it.
It's the third item in the work backlog, yeah.
We'll just go to it directly.
180.
Okay. So this just basically, is a matter of we need to look at the different levels of. So first, some of this is already done, which is that Dawn rearranged the sort of directory hierarchy here. And the issue is that we just need to check that there's an index page that explains what's below it at every level of the directory hierarchy, so that if somebody's navigating the tree, they don't get lost. And it may be that that's actually all done. I just don't know that anybody's checked.
Yeah, I don't remember. I do remember Carolyn helping me quite a lot with the directory structure revamp. And we did look at some of the index files, but that doesn't mean that we didn't miss any.
This is about the website, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
So
Yeah, we originally just had a templates directory, and it wasn't kind of in the right place on the website, and it didn't have subdirectories for like different types of templates, and it was really hard to navigate once we ended up putting a whole bunch of templates. So so we did reorganize it a bit.
Yeah, something like this, you mean? When you go to security, for example, you only have this, but there's no explanation about what this
Yeah.
security
But
is.
that's not in the templates. That's
Yeah, I mean, I'm just giving an example.
oh yeah, sorry.
So
I mean, if
I was thinking about we should look in general for the website, like we sorted out the repo to be well organized. Maybe it's good time when that PR merge for the rearranging the layout to do the lower level C as well.
So I read this is a generic website problem, not specific to templates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we should check it for pretty much the entire website, honestly.
Yeah.
The at the time I filed the issue, I was just looking at the templates.
Okay, I added the website labels. Do we want to keep the contributor growth and governance labels here? Probably not, if you ask me.
I think take that off and put administration on there, because it's admin task. And website, yeah, it's for me and you to sort out.
Okay. Moving on.
Just while we're on, if I for a moment I messed around a little with the settings on the merge options. If you switch off create merge commit, squash merge becomes the default and rebase becomes the second option. and then merge commit is then gone. But if you switch it back on, merge commit always becomes the default.
That's, I think, what we want.
No, great. Merge commit is actually the default. That's the one that we don't want.
Yeah.
If you click, yeah, so that becomes it shows up like default there. If I switch that off, squash merge becomes the default.
Cool. Yeah, I can
Should I
already
do
see.
that?
Probably this one will be this like second, so it's ordered. Okay.
Well, should I switch it off in the settings or merge commit?
Yeah.
All right, it's done. If you refresh the PR, you'll see the change.
Thank you. Nice. Enable auto merge squash. Cool. Okay. I cannot find that ticket so that I cannot close it right now, but yeah, it's okay.
All right, I'll find it and I'll
Um,
comment that I did it and close it.
Thanks. Create contributor ladder templates. This is next one. Our contributor ladder template is a fairly comprehensive ladder creation kit. But we don't have examples. Anything to talk about this one, or is just all good? We just need to work on it.
Yeah, we just need to work on it. I mean, that primarily came out of contributor growth. But contributor ladder does sort of overlap both areas.
Okay, I do nothing there. Create template variant for spec projects. I know this is new. Yeah, again, another thing that we need to do, but any other comments?
Nope, it's going to be more of a major effort. But
We can probably do it after CloudEvents is merged or finished, I should say.
yeah, well, I mean, the trick would be look at cloud events, look at, say, Spiffy, see what the commonalities are.
Yeah. Spiffy, how do I write that? Like this?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, SPIFFE.
Okay.
The,
I didn't really get the relation with Spiffy, but is it okay if I write after CloudWinds and Spiffy reviews? Spiffy is not a CNCF thing, is it?
yeah, we're not necessarily reviewing it. No, Spiffy's a CNCF project.
Okay.
It's just mostly we can't look just at cloud events. We need to look at the other spec projects that the CNCF already has.
Okay.
And see what are the common elements so that we can create a template. Because if we create a template just based on cloud events, it might be, okay, well, that's cloud events' weird way of doing things, but it doesn't really apply to other specs.
Okay. After CloudWinds and Spiffy, we can have more idea. We can have more idea about what governance in a spec project looks like, and we can upload our template or create a new one. Moving on. Governance review, Istio.
Yeah, that's me. There's no deadline on that.
Okay.
Honestly, I put it in there just because you know, as an occasional contributor, I happen to know that Istio's governance has not had any significant changes since it was a Google project. And since they're a CNCF project now, there's undoubtedly things that need to be updated. So it's actually honestly more for the benefit of the project. They're already graduated. They don't need it for a deadline.
I was sort of thinking that that one might be a really good candidate for the first pass at the self-assessment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
pretty good.
Because especially given that, I mean, you and I have both been kind of tangentially involved in this project. You certainly more than I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this would be an interesting one for a self-assessment once we get that template
Okay.
out.
Sure. I'm going to be particularly interested in throwing the governance drift section out to the community and seeing what feedback people have.
Mhm.
The
Okay.
Yes, just a time check. We are 1 minute to go. Then we have to drop for the next meeting.
Unless there is important you want to talk about in with the remaining tasks, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
Hello everyone. My name is Sayyam and currently I'm looking for open source contribution, and it's October, and so I'm looking for contribution in the Hacktoberfest. So I got this meeting link in CNCF website. So like I'm wondering like how I can contribute. I know full stack development in Munstack. So I am expanding my knowledge in cloud native apps and learning Docker and Kubernetes. So like I read the various things from the CNCF websites how I can contribute. Like still I'm very overwhelmed by looking the size of the project, like how I'm able to contribute something in it. So from your experience, how can I start?
well, you've heard us discussing a lot of the things that we're currently working on. Now, since this is the governance working group of Tag Contributor Strategy, a lot of the things that we are working on kind of require having some experience having been part of an open source project. But on the other hand, not everything does. And I'm actually going to need to drop because I'm about to be running a meeting. So, for example, checking through our documentation and making sure that each level of the hierarchy has an explanation page is something that anybody could do. If you can join our Slack, CNCF Tag Contributor Strategy, we can actually follow up on this. I need to actually drop because I need to be in a meeting right now. So follow up on Slack and we'll give you ideas.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Adam.
I pasted some links, Sanyam, in the chat if you want to have a look. We can take it from there because I also have a meeting. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Cheers.